Hey there, beautiful souls. I'm super grateful to have you guys tuning in for today's message. So can't wait to see who is able to join me today. So definitely make sure that as you are joining, you do drop me a comment, or if you're listening to the replay, I still want to hear from you. I want to see who's joining and watching and tuning into these messages. And as usual, I want to make this a totally co-creative space. I don't want to just be talking at you guys. Like, I want to hear from you. I'd love to hear your perspectives, your wisdom, your questions, your experiences, anything that you feel called to share and contribute to this conversation. This one is what has been most powerful for me over the last nearly 8 weeks. I've been on a pretty intensive internal kind of journey where I have really gotten out of all of my routines, all of my have-tos that used to be get-tos, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. So it's really going to be a great message for those of you out there who may be in a bit of a, you know, like just a really boring kind of everything's the same, kind of feeling like you're doing way more have-tos than get-tos. Maybe you've lost your creative flow. And I really want to shift our perspective on how we see ourselves in the world. So I'm going to be talking a lot about being a creator versus being a consumer. It's really, really empowering stuff. At least it has been in my own life, and I can't wait to dive in deep and share the depths of it with you guys. So as you're tuning in, and if you feel like this is going to be a valuable message for other people in your life, I would absolutely love it if you could please share it. That would be amazing, and let's expand our community a bit, expand the conversation, because I really do believe that one of the greatest gifts that we can give to one another is our differing perspectives. Because when we see the world through our own lens, right, based on our own experiences, our own models of the world, our belief systems, all the rest of it, and you know, that can be very entrapping to see the world in only one way. And like I said, one of the greatest gifts that we can give to one another is differing perspectives, because it can open our minds, expand how we work. I just definitely shared this in the wrong group right then, because I was not doing it right. But oh no, okay, I don't know how to share it any more than that. So I'm going to rely on you guys to share for me, because I messed up and did something wrong, but no idea. All right, let's get into it. I can see a bunch of you guys already here. I can see Shet and Robert and Samuel and Tezen and Javier is here, and Nash and Mick, and awesome. Can't wait to dive in and see what you guys are commenting along the way. But let's get into it. So today's message is one that I really want you to feel it. I really want you to get in it. I really want you to breathe into it. I want you to feel it in every cell of your body. And it is that you were born to be soul-directed and inspiration-fueled. All right? And I'm going to talk about what's the opposite to that most of us fall victim to mindlessly in our way of being in every area of our life. And basically it comes down to you're either predominantly driven by your soul, right? What you're internally inspired by, right? Or you're predominantly directed by society, all right? So you're either soul directed or society directed. And most of us, to fit in the system, because of our human need to fit in and belong and have love, and we all need that, and that acceptance and approval and validation, most of us go to sleep to our internal world, because it's oftentimes in conflict with what the external world expects from us. Okay, and so most of us see ourselves as the amateur or the consumer, rather than the artist, the creator, and the one that is driven by the flow of its creativity and inspiration, right? And so what we can look at is what's the fuel, right? So if we can either be soul directed or society directed, right? I hope you guys can see what that may look like, right? When we are soul directed, we are operating as a creator in our lives, in the universe, with the people that we are around. And on the flip side of that is that being a consumer, right? Like, you know, a lot of times, you know, we'll fall into the trap of consumption because we're trying to dull down that inner voice, the inner creator within that knows that we've got way more to give and contribute and grow and experience and all that juice, but it comes with some hard work. It comes with, you know, maybe being, you know, disconnecting from our external people in our lives, ostracized from our family system, our friendship groups, our communities, our wherever we work and whoever we work with, you know. So there comes with a lot of potential loss as we perceive it by being in the creator mode versus being the consumer. And our world is filled with all of these little really clever little tricky consuming, you know, like hits that we get, right? And it feels good. It's this instant gratification that we use as escapism from the creator within, but it always catches up with us, right? I've spoken a million times about that inner voice within that we can only dull down for so long before it starts screaming at us, and sometimes that ends up manifesting in a physical way. A lot of the time it manifests in a physical way. And we can go down the path of looking at you know, how the mind-body connection works. If you want to go deeper with an expert on that, I would definitely recommend the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza on that. So that's not today's topic, right? But I'd love to go down that rabbit hole with you guys. But we've got to look at this. So how do you see yourself? Because I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on for me, right? It was 8 weeks ago this Saturday, I think it is, I really just went, you know what, like, I need to get back to my foundation. I feel like I disconnected and lost that soul connection, that inspiration, and the majority of the things that I could see on my calendar, like it was just completely filled, and they all felt like have-tos, right? And I had to battle to like get them kind of done, right? Instead of that flow of energy and that get to. And it got so weighed down by the have-tos that I had to take some radical action, right? And I had to reprioritize myself, and I had to make sure that what I was doing was filled with integrity and operating in connection with my own inspiration and what I want to do in my life and how I want to spend my heartbeats, rather than for any external reasons or not wanting to disappoint people or let people down, or, you know, I made a commitment, so I don't want to, you know, break that commitment, you know. But what I was finding was I was ending up with this resentful energy driving all my have-tos, right? And just kind of draining me and wanting and giving me the feeling of wanting to just escape, right? And so that's the pathway that we can oftentimes find ourselves going down when we're not listening to the creator, when we're within, right? And we are not, you know, following the inspirational creative flow, and instead we're predetermining for ourselves what we think our lives should be, and we're overcommitting our future selves to things that we may not at that point in time actually be inspired by. And then we're relying on motivation. We're sacrificing our truth for what other people will think, or, you know, not wanting to upset others, or wanting to, you know, be accepted and approved of and live to the expectations. And then we're ending up as the massive consumer who is habitually addicted to things that aren't healthy for it and using those things as an escapism, right? We all know that path. I feel like that's just a definite part of the human experience, right? So, and I'd love to hear from you guys, what your thoughts are, if you've found yourself there as well. And basically what I've done is I shut off all the have-tos, right? And that was seriously difficult. I have, during this process, ended relationships. I have shifted relationships, like doing a whole, you know, 180. I have definitely gotten in touch with a part of myself that I have never sustained the level of connection that I'd previously done. I'd had tastes of it, but I hadn't really sustained it to the degree that I have now. And I was more so in the past driven by that, okay, a bit of inspiration, but now how does that fit in the external world? And oftentimes was in conflict with the external world, and I let the external world determine what would go ahead, and therefore I had to rely on the motivation, some external reward in order to move in any direction, and I went to sleep to the inspiration. Well, that's now kicked back into gear, right? And I'm not saying it's easy. It has been a struggle. I have fallen back into the have-tos at times and the people-pleasing, but I'm more conscious of it more quickly and shifting out of that. And so the biggest thing that really woke me up was I shifted my learning and my personal development over this past 8 weeks from learning all these different systems of human potential and fulfillment, and learning from neuroscience and psychology, and all these bits and pieces, and exploring what's going on in different parts of the world and all of these things. And I decided, and even my inbox, it started to feel like, oh, everybody is trying to get something from me, even the people that I've learnt from, right? And that I've loved, and I've in the past eaten everything that they've got up, right? I shifted into this, hang on a minute, this is killing my creative flow. They're grabbing at me. The whole world that I'd set up for myself, including my inbox, was grabbing at my attention, right? Which most of us are experiencing. And what I had to do was I made a shift intuitively. I started being drawn to learning from those people out there who their teachings are all about awakening your soul connection, awakening the artist, the creator that is within you. And when I started being drawn to this work, and a couple of the people I've been learning from in particular have been Julia Cameron and also from Stephen Pressfield. It started with Martha Beck and The Way of Integrity, which is a brilliant book as well. But I've been on a journey of really reigniting the integrity within and establishing this really high quality relationship with my creator within, right? Or my artist within. And that was the shift for me, was I'd never previously seen myself as an artist, right? And because I didn't see myself as an artist, I just thought, oh, art is when you're a poet, when you're a painter, when, you do some drawings, or you're a musician, right? That's being an artist. I'd categorized really narrowly that term, and it was actually forcing me into the position of being the amateur in my life. The amateur who wants to consume or is forced into consumption because I'm not stepping into and fully owning the creator within me, the artist within me. All right. And I really do believe that as my mind has expanded, in this narrow little realm of like who's an artist, who's not, right? I can now fully see that all of us are artists. You're an artist. I'm an artist. What is your art is the variable, right? So I know for myself, like my art is in the flow of my creative thoughts, right? It's not pre-planning things. It's not, orchestrating them ahead of time necessarily. What it is being in the flow of the moment, right? Part of my art is, it's why I love my Limitless Potential group, right? Every couple of weeks we catch up. Our conversations go in a myriad of different ways. Questions are asked, new experiences are shared, perspectives are going off in this group, right? And that, it triggers like a myriad of different pathways and insights and connection points within me that flow out of me. And I don't know where they come from. I'm not in control of that, right? That's why I love doing a Facebook Live, right? Because an insight comes to me, and then I just want to flow with a conversation with you guys, because that is the creativity right there. And if you don't jump on the wave, You're going to miss it. Now, you will have a different art, right? And what I've found is a lot of what I was doing, like what I get to do, I get into my creative flow, it was becoming a have to, and it was becoming externally motivated. Oh, I haven't done a Facebook Live, or I haven't created, or I haven't done this, or I haven't done that for long. Oh, I better do it, right? And it was coming from this place of have to rather than get to, and it was crushing my creative flow. And so I actually had to remove all of that, and instead of chucking everything that was a have to out the window, I just had to find a different strategy to get reconnected to my own inspiration and make sure that everything that I do is coming from the inside out, not the outside in. It's coming from inspiration, not from motivation. And the challenge is that it's this concept of routine, right? Because setting a healthy routine is often paramount, right? And definitely key to succeeding in your creativity, however you want to roll with that. But if the routine becomes this push, have to, it has to be built on external motivations, and then you crush your creative flow, and then you fail at what you should be successful at intuitively, all right? And so what the balancing act comes in to be, and what I've found for myself, is that I literally had to get rid of all of my routine, and then I had to decipher from the inside out, what am I inspired by? What are those things that connect me even more deeply, give me energy and fuel and inspiration? And I actually had to create a routine and a schedule for myself based on inspirational things like journaling, meditation, Bikram yoga for me, and then to be studying something that I'm intuitively drawn to, and getting deeper and deeper insights, and following those pathways and growing every day, and connecting when I feel like I want to connect with people, right? Like not through obligation, but through the flow of inspiration, right? And I scheduled all that, and I was in this real routine, like I said, for the past 8 weeks. And now, just actually yesterday, I broke free of the routine that was set from inspiration, had become, all those get-tos were starting to become have-tos. And I don't know about you, but I've got a little rebel and a rule breaker within me. And don't tell me what to do, right, if I don't want to do it, right? And so that routine, even though it was set from inspiration, it started to become something I felt rebellious to, right? And so you have to keep your finger on your inspirational pulse, and you have to be flexible enough and faithful enough to flow with that, right? With the spontaneity of that. Because when I just dropped my rules and routine and I rebelled against it yesterday, I jumped on a wave of inspiration, and I created so much yesterday. And I'm not going to share about it right now, because I've noticed that's one of my other patterns, is sharing something a little bit ahead of time, and then it kind of kills my creative flow, because then I've put it externally where it's still manifesting internally, and it kind of cuts me off from it. So I'm noticing and learning a lot of stuff about my own creative flow. I even created a creative flow map, where is it, for myself just a couple of days ago, right? Like, so that I can know for myself what that is, so that I can and catch the waves and stay on the waves as long as possible, and not let those waves crash at the shore without me being able to enjoy them and manifest them. And so that's what I'm working on right now, is how do I continue my flow of creativity from the inside, and then it can come out to you guys, and how I want to manifest that when I've been on the flow of that, right? And when I am not in a point of jeopardizing that creativity while it's still in infancy, all right? And so that's kind of my journey. I wanted to just share some of that with you guys, in the hope that some of it can resonate with you. And the key for today's message is to remind yourself that if you're not being soul-directed and inspiration-fueled, you're really not living your life, right? You're not living the life you were born for. And what you want to do is recognize that you're either soul directed and inspiration fueled, right? Or you are basically society driven, right? Society directed and reliant on motivation as a fuel source that makes you want to just consume and escape rather than expand and continue to draw out your gifts, right? However they are, your unique gifts as the artist, as the creator that you actually are. And in order to allow that artist within you to stop being an amateur and start actually presenting its art, you've got to reestablish a healthy relationship with it, because the society-directed, motivation-reliant person is a consumer driven by fear and resistance, right? And so that's not a very trustworthy dynamic for your internal creator and artist, right? If you're just a consumer, you're relying on escapism, you're relying on external sources to motivate you and reward you in certain ways, and you're driven by fear, you know, you've got to have the faith to recognize your potential, to recognize your purpose for being here, to discover your artist within, and that takes faith over fear, right? That takes shifting your belief system to know you were born to be soul directed and inspiration fueled. You are a creator, not a consumer, all right? And when you take on that purpose, that potential, and that identity, you will awaken that relationship dynamic between you and your inner creator, your inner artist. And faith is the way over fear if you want to start living your life, right? You were not born to waste it in consumption. You have got creative energy and flow that we all want, right? Your uniqueness is what you were born to contribute to the world, but you've got to be doing it not for external reasons, but for your own inner sake, right? Get into the creative artist within that finds the joy and the fulfillment in the creation, right? And is not dependent on any external motivators, because when you're relying on external motivation over internal fuel of inspiration, you will become a consumer, you will need an escape route, and you will be sucking the life out of your soul, all right? And so we want the opposite to that, and I definitely want to check in with you guys in the hope that this has been of value to you. And I hope it's maybe woken up the artist within you, and I'd love for you to shift your perspective of your identity. Notice where you've been playing the amateur rather than the artist, playing the consumer rather than the creator, and just say, you know, like in the words of Dr. Phil, how's that working out for you, right? And if we're honest with ourselves, we recognize how much of our potential we sell out on. And it's up to us, no one else, to make that shift and awaken that faith within us, and choosing that faith over our fears, all right? And knowing those fears are inevitable. So just rock and roll with them. But you are the creator of your own destiny. Don't be a victim to the rest of the world, right? Shift from society-directed and motivation-reliant to that soul-directed, inspiration-fueled artist and creator within. All right, that's where our fulfillment is, and that's how we contribute to one another. All right, I want to know what your gifts are. Do you know who that artist within you is? What is your art? I would absolutely love to hear from you. All right, so let me check in. I've got Chet and Robert and Samuel and Tazen. And Samuel, great to see you again, Coach. Decent hour here in the UK. Oh, good. You know, my part of my creative flow, I'm a morning person, right? And my maximized creative flow is actually at this time. And usually I would be journaling right now. I just finished my Bikram. I would have jumped into my journaling, and then I would have done some development and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? No, like my inspiration within, like I'm going to jump on the wave of that. And I just felt so called to share this message with you guys. So, you know, I'm grateful to hear that it's a better time for you guys in the UK. because this is definitely my time. So maybe you'll see me a little bit more at this time. All right, love it. And Javier, hello amigo, always a vision of beauty. Oh, thank you so much, Javier, always tuning in from San Diego. Great to see you, my friend, and thanks for those kind words. And Nash, good to see you. And Mick and Jose, hello to you. And Junior, much love coming back at you. And Peter's here as well. And Wendy, loving all your posts and to meet you on live today. Yay, thanks. Oh, I'm so grateful to have you back, Wendy, and super grateful to know that you're finding value in my posts and these messages. Love seeing you back. And Tadashi is here as well, and Kenny and Dave and Jonathan, hello to you, my friend. And Samuel, I was lost, decided to just watch telly and meditate and eat good food and didn't really bother about anything else. Oops. I wasn't bothered about a relationship either, but guess what? I'm okay with that. I'm kind of still learning about me and people pleasing. Still, I'm not there, but I'm still learning. You inspire me and I'm okay with still learning. Samuel, I love that. Part of what allows us to access our own internal creator within is basically allowing, not resisting the path that we're on, and being okay, being more than okay, being appreciative, having that attitude of gratitude, for exactly where we're at. Oh my gosh, I'm so on the edge of wanting to share with you what I've been creating all day yesterday. I just went into this massive creative flow. I lost all sense of time. I didn't even eat. I wasn't hungry. Nothing else mattered than what I was diving into. And that is because of the access to the creativity and because of the relationship I've been building with my artist within over the last 8 weeks. I've been honoring her, right? I've been prioritizing her. I haven't made her a slave to some external motivation. I have followed her. I have subordinated and surrendered to whatever she is drawn to, right? And what actually happened for me was a part of what you're saying now, Samuel. I dropped all my expectations on her, because if you think about it, who is motivated? You have to be motivated by some sort of external expectation, right? And it kills and crushes your creative flow, and it doesn't inspire you to give your absolute best, right? So our own internal relationship with self operates the exact same way. So I love that, you're just releasing, right? You're releasing the need to be anything other than, celebrating just what is, or being at peace with what is, and that's part of the journey. And, obviously we don't want to live there for the rest of our lives, because we have creativity that wants to be manifest, right? But that's part of the journey, and you're going to come back, and it's in a cycle, and you're going to, tap back into that again, so just be really consciously aware and keep your finger on your intuitive pulse, on your inspiration and that creative flow, however it rocks and rolls. All right, so I love that, and so grateful for your inspiration, my friend. Grateful to have you here. And Wendy, you're always loved growing. Your words make me happy. Oh, I'm very happy to hear that. Your words are making me happy as well, Wendy. Good to have you here as usual, beautiful soul. And Alexan is here, and Judith and Samuel. Reason I come on your lives is for the best content. Oh, you're touching my heart, totally. Thank you so much for those kind words, Samuel. I appreciate you, and always appreciate you guys contributing to these messages with your comments, with your questions, with your sharing of your experiences. There's nothing more freeing than courageous vulnerability built from insights and moments of realization about your own self, your own patterns, and the pathway forward. All right, and so I really want to honor and acknowledge you guys for sharing and showing up. And I really love getting to have these conversations with you guys. It is the avenue for my creative flow, and I love what you guys contribute, because it sparks something else within me, right? And that gives me a lot of freedom. So I definitely thank you guys for being part of my creative flow and my fulfillment. And I hope that today's message does just get you thinking, maybe shifting your identity, and maybe making a realization like I had, which was I hadn't seen myself as an artist because I was too short-sighted about what that looked like. And the moment I made the shift, everything's opened up, right? And it's given me a much more, my identity is much more in the creator position than in the consumption position, right? And so that is, I feel, paramount for all of us to kind of get a handle on in our own lives, because we've got all angles coming at us, wanting us to be the consumer. But you're either the consumer or the creator, all right? And that's why, another reason is why I love co-creating this space with you guys. I realize that Facebook and all the social media platforms can get us stuck in consumption and away from our creativity. But my purpose for these messages and my drive for them is to open up the playing field for, maybe you're in the consumer and you're doing some consumption on Facebook, but maybe a message like this might be all the reason why it was worth being in that platform, is to open up the creator within you, right? That's my purpose on these messages, because I know for my own self the importance of that, right? Waking up to your co-creative abilities and not just mindlessly consuming, because that leads us nowhere fast other than really unfulfilled, filled with regret, and trying more and more escapism tactics that never quite work out, and they'll never match up to what can come when you are soul-directed and inspiration-fueled. All right? And Samuel, you may not realize how you help people. I really appreciate those kind words, my friend. I hope so, but, that's the name of the game. But remember this, because this is something that made my get-tos a bit of a have-to, was I got a little bit too focused on contributing and being of value to everybody else, that I put too much pressure on my internal creator. I killed the juice, I crushed the creativity, and I had to regroup. And I had to make sure that my inner creator knows she's the priority, and I surrendered to her. Right? It's not me being a taskmaster, forcing her to come out and create, because you got to contribute and you got to change people's lives and you got to be of value, right? Because that doesn't work. All right, so whatever your flavor of that may be, I hope that this message gets you thinking about just being more consciously aware of how that goes on for you, what's your process, and how you can make sure you stay on track and you stay flexible in the flow of your creative soul. All right, that's my aim, and thank you so much for those beautiful, kind words, Samuel. That really touches my heart. And Kay's here as well, awesome, and Patty, and Data. Caught you at the last minute, shining as bright as ever, superstar. Thank you so much. I love having you here, and grateful for you guys who are just catching the live right now. Please do watch the beginning, watch it all the way through if you find it of value and you are willing to make the shift from the consumer to the creator, from playing the amateur to being the artist. Like, I hope that this message really helps you tap into that soul direction and fuel of inspiration, and stop relying on external motivation, being society driven rather than that soul directed. All right, so that's it. I hope you catch the recording, share the message, and definitely drop some comments, questions, experiences. Co-create this space, right? And I cannot wait to see you guys very, very soon. I'm going to be in the creative flow with it, and I also want to make sure that I forgot what I was going to say. Don't worry. All right, that's it from me. So much love for each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for showing up, for being here, for contributing, and for staying around, and I hope it was of value. Can't wait to hear from you guys. If you want to let me know who is your artist, what is your art, and particularly those of you who have an art that's not in the realm of the normal category that we see it as, I'd love for you to share that, because it will help others who get to read that, you know, to wake up to what their potential as their own creator and artist is. And I really do feel like that is the pathway towards actualizing our unique potential and contributing the gifts that we each have. All right, that's it. So much love, and I'll see you guys soon.